Hello, 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 and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. You've already seen my new chair. I'm Matt Miller. Joining me today, again, is Justin McGovern and Intern Tones. How's it going, guys?
I'm good.
We're
It's
doing
time to
Justin's
talk about
favorite division and three of his least favorite teams of all time. Justin, do you want to care to tell everybody we're
We're talking about the AFC East. We're currently in the series where we're diving through all 32 NFL teams, and today the journey takes us through the AFC East. Matt, how about you tell the people what we're about?
We here at Updog Sports Talk love to stick up for the little guy. We were founded on that principle. We got tired of seeing the 1% of the top athletes talked about. The 1%, top 1% of teams talked about. We want to stick up for the Miami Dolphins of the world and the Bills of yesteryear.
The Buffalo Bills. I think we know a lot of what they have already, so actually I'm going to try not to be too long here because we know they have Josh Allen. The good news is they have all five offensive linemen back. Kind of went to address some depth there just in case anything were to go on. So I think that was pretty solid on their part. And I think the big thing is, you're going to still have a strong run game. Kind of figure things out with James Cook. I'm very torn in that situation just because, you're asking for money here a little early in your rookie contract. Most rookies don't get a new deal. I mean, he's not a rookie anymore, but most young guys don't get a new deal this soon. So, but he's asking for that. So now it's kind of one of those situations where they're kind of trying to set their feet a little bit because that would mess up the rest of the NFL if every rookie's asking for a new deal a couple years in. But they got some depth there. Ty Johnson receiving back. Ray Davis is the pounding back. Frank Gore Jr. still around as well. But the main thing here and the elephant in the room is going to be on the defensive side. Can the defense... the defense, usually they do a good job making plays during the season. But I think that a lot of times what we see from this unit is, can they make the plays when the moment is the biggest? And that's something that we won't be able to answer in this show, but we'll have to see how it develops as the year goes on. The hope is that Joey Bosa is that guy. That was something we talked about off camera. We had to bring it up on camera.
Now that I have my sideline reporter microphone, I think the Bills, as long as they have Josh Allen, they're gonna compete. The James Cook thing will figure itself out. I mean, you're not really gonna lose James Cook yet. Can't. You're gonna have to trade him, and then if you trade him, you're gonna get a big haul for him. Defensively, they still have Ed Oliver, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. They brought in Joey Bosa. The last few years, have you really heard Joey Bosa's name that much?
Not Justin's like we did.
Justin's higher on Joey Bosa than I am. I don't think they have an elite pass rush, and I think that's ultimately what's going to hurt them. They did bring Tre'Davious White back.
Yeah, they brought him back. Obviously drafted a corner as well because not only was their pass rush not good enough in the playoffs last year, but the other problem they faced was the secondary struggled. Rasul Douglas is gone, so they kind of had to figure that out. They ended up drafting Maxwell Harrison and brought back Tre'Davious White. And yeah, he seems like a guy. Like, just learning all about who he is, that one's an exciting pick. And Christian Bedford, by the way, out of the 2022 draft, who would have thought that the 6th-round pick would be playing like the 1st-round pick, while the 1st-round pick would play like a 6th-round pick? But that's what happened in that draft. Christian Bedford got paid this offseason, and based on early camp reports, he is stepping it up another level. Breakout player to watch here is Cole Bishop. He kind of got forced into action late in the year, and he stepped up and played pretty solid. So now he's going to be ready to be one of the better safeties on the team.
Who were their safeties last year?
Last year,
Micah Hyde.
was
Who was the other one?
no, Micah Hyde was brought in late. So
Anyway, no, Micah Hyde was there for like 3 years.
yeah, but he briefly left last year and then came back for the playoffs, but really kind of just sat on the sideline for the most part. But yeah, Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin were the main safeties last year.
Maybe it was 2 years ago then. Yeah, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. This is very different than that secondary. Taylor Rapp, former LA Ram. Love to see him get back into starting lineup. And he's been an anchor for them. But Cole Bishop, DeMar Hamlin, I don't think that trio of safeties is as good as it was a few years ago. And I think Tre'Davious White, not the same as he was a few years ago. So they're going to rely heavily on Maxwell Hairston to be a Quinion Mitchell. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to need him to step up that quickly. And I don't, whether he has it in him or not this year, I don't think he can do it himself. I don't trust this defense.
I think
Josh Allen
you're not looking at it.
The playmaker for
Yeah.
this team.
As he was last year. Yeah.
And that's kind of
the reason you can almost write the Bills in, and I say almost because there's a few scenarios where the Bills lose earlier in the playoffs. But you can almost write him in to conference championship every year.
I wouldn't put it that far, but at least, maybe at least making it around, depending on when they meet up with the Chiefs, obviously.
And the Bengals.
Well, we'll see. We'll get to that one at a later date. But I think the good news is that's what Josh Allen kind of gives you when you're in a position like the Bills and Chiefs, where you're a top quarterback. Like, you almost get to go through the season with your young guys in there and kind of have them learn by fire. Because really, for the most part, you can deal with Maxwell Harrison struggling weeks 2, 4, even like until mid-season. Where you need him to step up is when you get to the playoffs. That's when you want him to be fully caught on and know what he's doing. We saw the Chiefs go with that a few years ago when they went all young in their secondary. Went through struggles for most of the season, and then those guys figured it out late, and they won the Super Bowl, and now they've had that unit together for a few years. I think that's what the Bills are trying to do here. We'll see how it goes. Again, though, I don't want to look past the regular season, but it's kind of all about the playoffs for this team. It's what can you do there, and is it going to just be the same story over and over again? That's kind of the big pressure point.
I didn't realize they also brought back Dane Jackson. They brought back their secondary without Poyer and Hyde. I do like what they're doing at receiver. Brought in Elijah Moore, who I would still say at this point is a promising young receiver, maybe on the cusp of bust. Chenault, but I mean, like, you're not making him the number one receiver, so the pressure's not there. So I like that for him.
Maybe you do, though, because there isn't a clear-cut one.
Keon Coleman, I would say, is the clear-cut number one,
I mean, he's more of a slot guy, but Khalil Shakir is clearly like the top target in this offense. And then you have the tight ends as well. The tight ends are heavily involved, both Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Now, Knox tweaked something the other day, so he's a little bit injured right now. We'll see. It seems optimistic he should be back in time for the season, but you got two tight ends that are going to be your guys there. And, Shakir in the slot is going to be making plays. Obviously, you're hoping that Keon Coleman takes that step forward. I think last year is a bit of a learning process for him. So you're kind of relying on that. You're relying on Josh Palmer to contribute some things here and there.
Josh Palmer was supposed to be one of the guys for the Chargers last year, and then just, he had a couple flashes, but, not what we thought was going to happen with him. Not the trajectory that we saw from him 2 years ago. I still think this is, and no offense to Bills fans, no offense, Justin, I do still think this is one of the weaker wide receiver rooms in the NFL. And, like, it's a shame because Josh Allen deserves a lot of talent around him. But receivers are a position that if they play to $100 million, they want $100 million. Like, you're not going to see too many receivers take a pay cut just to play with someone anymore. And Josh Allen deserves to have Randy Moss, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson because of, like, he's a great guy, talented quarterback, Big Ben vibes, but without, like, the problems. A guy who you could have play Batman, Bruce Wayne in a crappy version of like the Dark Knight or whatever. And for Bills fans, they deserve a lot more than this group of receivers.
They've been through it.
This is their last year in their stadium. They are bringing back the red helmets for the final regular season game. If you can't do it this year, at least you have a brand new stadium to do it next year. And from the photos, it looks like it's going to be fantastic. But why not show some love to a stadium that every fan in upstate New York looked forward to going to in the 80s and 90s when Jim Kelly was there? Unfortunately, they couldn't get over the hump in the 90s. Why not try to rectify that? Why not try to get Calvin Johnson out of retirement? Why not try to get, like...
Might be a few years past at this point.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, the Chiefs don't have a deep wide receiver room either. And I don't know, like, how both teams are able to compete to the level they are with the receivers that they have. None of these guys.
Well, I mean, you know how it's because the quarterbacks lift up everyone else that they have, and
yes, but
to top it off,
these players, most of the Chiefs receivers, I wouldn't put higher than 2 on a depth chart. I just want to see more from the Bills. I want to see the Bengals lift a trophy before the Bills, but I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, if the Bills lift a trophy at some point, it's well deserved. The Bills are clear-cut favorites in this division no matter who they have on their roster. As long as Josh Allen is there and Sean McDermott is calling plays, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're a team that can take down Patrick Mahomes. Have they? Not really, but they can. It's been the refs that have gotten in the way each time.
Well, we're not going to bring up the clip of the every short yardage marker last year's game, but it's out there if you want to try to find it. But let's just, I mean, for me, I think it's on the defense for me. That's where the biggest concern is. I've said it many times in other episodes. You can hide a less top tier offense, but you cannot hide a bad defense. And we've seen time and time again in the playoffs, the Bills have not been able to. They've been able to hide their defense in the regular season, but when the playoffs have come around, especially against Mahomes and even Joe Burrow, like their defense has gotten exposed in a bad way every year. So as a Bills fan, that is my big area of concern. That's why I dove immediately to it. Because Josh Allen can hide a lot of the warts you have at receiver, but he can't hide what you have on defense, especially when he's lost multiple games where he's played a near perfect game on offense.
Like, subscribe, follow us. At Updog Sports Talk everywhere. Tell your friends about us. We don't just do football. Right now we're doing NFL. Justin is spearheading the college football campaign. And Intern Tones and I will be coming up with a plan to implement MLS coverage as the season winds down and getting into probably one of the more interesting parts of the season. So a lot coming up this fall. Right now we're just recording and posting. So for the next month or so, until both seasons starts, we're probably going to be just daily posting videos, getting teams out there for people to hear about. We'll be live this fall. So we'll catch you then. See you guys.